Did you know that you are in a box? Simply by being a woman, people put you in this box. It's called the woman box. Because you're a woman, you're supposed to be nurturing and empathetic. You're supposed to be a good listener and caring and gentle and compassionate and loving and emotionally attuned. And most of all, as a woman, you are supposed to be feminine. And if you break those expectations, you are going to get judged. You might even hear things like, women aren't supposed to be loud. Women aren't supposed to be strong or logical or decisive or authoritative or powerful or heroic or leaders or innovators. And most of all, women are not supposed to be masculine. Because if a loud, strong, powerful woman goes out on a date and she refuses to squeeze herself into that woman box, no man will love her and she will be alone forever. Am I right? Hi, I'm Amy Waterman. I am the host of yourbrilliance.com. And in this video, I want to talk about the pervasive myth of femininity. You are so much more than this small handful of feminine traits. And when you embrace all that you are, that is when you truly shine. So we women are not always aware that we live inside this box, but a lot of men are. Men are taught from an incredibly young age that they have to stay inside their box or risk being called a wuss or a pansy or a girl, or obviously something even worse. Men live inside what's known as the man box. And the man box is even stricter than the woman box. The man box punishes men if they aren't strong and logical and unemotional and impervious to pain and obsessed with sex and confident and dominant and powerful and most of all, masculine. So unlike women who can occasionally step outside of the woman box at work, men must stay inside that man box at all times. Well, the rules can be flexed a little bit when a man becomes a father, but only if his child is a daughter. Because if the child's a son, it's the father's job to make sure that his son learns about the man box at the earliest opportunity and follows its rules. Because he knows, and his son will quickly learn, that there is no place in this world for a man who is emotional and sensitive and unsure of himself, and even the slightest bit weak or afraid. Because any weakness will attract the man box police. So the man box police are people, and this includes women, who take great delight in judging and punishing men who refuse to stay inside their box. When guys are policing other guys, it's pretty obvious because they'll call a guy names or they will bully him for maybe being too emotional or even expressing too much love for his girlfriend. Because one of the unfortunate traits about the man box is that it means you have to see women as objects. Now, when women are policing men, it's not always so obvious. Maybe you have some female friends who dream about attracting a very strong and powerful and dominant man. So they're imagining meeting the kind of hero they read about in romance novels. And they get frustrated with all of these beta males they keep meeting, these quiet, shy guys who don't really have their lives together and never make the first move and expect the woman to take control and do everything, right? What we don't realize is that that is also man box policing in action. So when a guy doesn't fit our expectations of what a man should be, we look down on him. And we certainly don't feel sexually attracted to him. He's a nice guy, and so he ends up in the friend zone. Back in the 1990s, a neuroscientist named David Data noticed that women seem to pass over the kind, sensitive guys in favor of these powerful jerks. And he developed a theory around it. He said that sexual chemistry is like a magnetic charge, and it requires two opposing poles, a masculine pole and a feminine pole. And so the more masculine a man, the more sexually charged he will become in the presence of a feminine woman. So if a woman wants a powerful, dominant man, she cannot herself be powerful and dominant, because that would be like putting the positive side of a magnet next to the positive side of another magnet, right? They wouldn't come together, they would be repelled. So she has to be feminine. The more feminine, the better. So in other words, she has to stay inside her box and he has to stay inside his box, because if they dare step out of their box, neither of them will be attractive to the opposite sex. So that is a really powerful reason to make sure you stay inside that box. But this theory of sexual chemistry is complete pseudoscience. So it's not scientific, and it is 100% not backed by actual research. The actual research says that the very best marriages are between what's known as psychologically androgynous partners. So these are partners who don't care so much about gender roles, and instead they work flexibly around each other's strengths and weaknesses. Now, when you hear the word androgynous, you don't think sexy, do you? But psychologically androgynous people have another name. They are also psychologically whole. And that means they have embraced the fact that they have both masculine and feminine traits, and they feel very comfortable expressing both sides of themselves. They will draw on their masculine side when necessary, like when they're in a leadership position at work, and they will draw on their feminine side when necessary, like when they're playing with their kid. These psychologically whole people make great managers, they make great parents, and they make great lovers, because studies show that they have much better sex lives and much more satisfying relationships than marriages between traditionally masculine men and traditionally feminine women. So why do we believe the BS that powerful women need to tone themselves down around men? It's because the woman box is still an incredibly powerful social construct. Men who've spent their lives trying to stay within the bars of the man box feel threatened by a woman who has stepped outside of her box, because she gets to be both masculine and feminine whenever it suits her. She is strong and sensitive. She is loud and a good listener. She is loving and a leader. And that is terrifying for men. Because if she gets to move in and out of her masculinity and femininity at will, where does that leave him? He can't claim the man box as his exclusive territory. He's got to share it with her. And even worse, he doesn't get to go where she goes, because he's still terrified of any shred of feminine empathy and gentleness and sensitivity that he has inside. Men who live inside the man box are not free, and they find it hard to be with a woman who is free. Now, the conclusion I would draw here is not that women should get back inside their box. The conclusion I would draw is that as free women, we want to find other free men. We want to find men who are psychologically whole, men who are sensitive and strong, decisive and receptive, gentle and fierce. And these men can be frightening to us on some level, because they will tell you if they love you, and they will walk away if you play mind games with them. They will say what they mean, and they will expect honesty from you too. And the one thing they won't tolerate is being shamed for who they are. So you don't think a soft and gentle guy is a real man? Well, that's fine. He's not for you then. Now, this topic matters a lot to me because I was raised in a culture where there really was only one place for me as a woman, at a man's side. So if I didn't have a husband that I served through cooking him meals and supporting his business and bearing him children, then really I had no worth. And I saw what that did to the other girls I grew up with. I saw many of them reduce their power to sexuality and getting a man and having that big house. And many of them got what they wanted. They got the guy, they got the house, they got the family. But the one thing they didn't get was themselves. They never got to find out who they really were without family to define them, without men to define them, without hometown expectations to define them, and without gender roles to define them. Now, I'm not saying that these women aren't happy. They are just fine. They have exactly what they want. But for me, and maybe for you too, I think there's so much more to life. There is adventure, there's risk, there's discovery. It's like there's this path through the woods that's covered by leaves and undetectable to the casual eye, called the hero's journey. And it's where you get to take on challenges and fight through obstacles and emerge completely transformed with a fuller understanding of your gifts. Now, the hero's journey has typically been understood as a man's journey, but I see it more as a journey of the masculine within all of us, and that's women as well as men. Our masculine essence gives us strength and power, and we need that strength and power for what's ahead. Imagine telling a powerful woman like Amanda Gorman that she's too masculine and men won't like her. Why would you want to see a magnificent woman who shines like a star squeeze herself inside this tiny box? Is a man's approval really that important? Here at Your Brilliance, we want you to shine. We don't want you to squeeze yourself inside a box. We don't want to tell you who you should be. It is our goal to shed light on some of the obstacles and challenges that face us as women. Other women have walked this path before and they know how it's done. And wherever you choose to go, whatever destination or path puts a sparkle in your eye, we will support you on the way there. So please take good care of yourself. And if you know somebody who might need to hear this message, please spread it along.